Hi guys, this is Nick.
Jose?
We're bringing you another movie review. Today's movie review is on
Zootopia, which came out recently into theaters March 4th, 2016.
And pretty good movie. Enjoyed it all around. Jose, what'd you think about it?
Well, honestly, I guess to start with the plot, I thought the pacing was kind of slow. I thought the opening scene was amazing. I enjoyed it very much, but you know what? Felt like it was a little predictable. Just because, they did really well foreshadowing, but it was also
definitely a lot of cliche. When the main character reaches Zootopia, Zootopia is set up like a zoo. It has different landscapes, different places where people live in their habitats. Like when you go to a zoo and it has the tundra landscape, the rainforest landscape, the other landscapes where animals live. It shows all of that.
Kind of like the Toronto Zoo.
Kind of like the Toronto Zoo. Yeah. It's I love the setting of Zootopia or Zootropolis in different countries. That's one thing I really enjoyed.
Something I'm really curious about. For me, this film is distributed by Walt Disney. So Walt Disney, without a doubt, they have amazing animation. But for anyone
animation was on point.
Anyone that appreciates animation, in my perspective, is you. So what did you think about it?
Me, I thought the animation was good. I thought it was clean and crisp. I think they used it in a really smart and technical way. The whole animals' movements. I think they really study the animals and how they move naturally very well.
Or unnaturally.
or unnaturally, yeah. We're walking on two legs, right? But I feel like they got that very well. They use a lot of species, I think, from Africa. Most of them look like they're from that kind of area. When they got to Zootopia, it seemed that way to me. Because it had the gazelles, it had the zebra, it had all that stuff.
Speaking of gazelle,
Shakira plays the gazelle in this movie.
Disney kind of almost tainted the image of her to me.
Oh, really?
I'm always going to think of her as the hips don't lie girl, you know what I mean?
True.
With Beyonce.
True.
But, man, I just didn't like her. I didn't like the soundtrack at all.
Really?
Yeah.
Didn't like it? The score was good. I think
it was so Disney to me. I get it. It's a Disney movie.
Okay. When you say a Disney soundtrack, I feel like the score, though, when it had the moments where it needs to be dark or the moments that really need to be happy and bouncy, I think they really brought those moments to life the most they could with the score. I think because the score, the balance between good animation or a good movie and its score tilts upon how it's used.
I thought the way they did really good was through the animation, not so much the sound. In all honesty, when I took my little brother to the movies, there were way more adults than kids, a lot more. There were couples there, and that's the good thing about Disney is they don't just appeal to kids, and anyone who just likes animation in general, it can appeal to them. They just it was, you know what, personally, it's not my favorite Disney movie.
In this movie, there are a lot of political issues, a lot of touchy issues that they touch on that I don't think a lot of other directors would have been willing to touch on.
Yeah, it's bold.
The directors in this movie were Byron Howard, Rich Moore, and Jared Bush. He was the co-director. He wrote the screenplay for the movie. I think this was very almost like a leap of faith kind of thing. And I think the timing of the timing was perfect for what's going on in the world right now.
Sure.
With all the subject matter, and I think this really touches on that a lot. This movie touches on stereotypes, racism.
Our last movie review was Race, and it talked about race.
Yeah, we didn't even think that
this one again we're going to talk about race.
Only a little bit, not as much.
But in my opinion, I think kids are not born racist. Right? I think kids don't see that. I think they're taught that. But I think the directors took the approach of animals was perfect.
Funny how they use all the species animals. Oh, you're a bunny, you can't become a cop. Or you're this species or that species, you can only do this and that. Yeah. Oh, you're an elephant, you remember things really well. And it's they might not. They may or may not.
I think it's so important that Judy Hopps played a role in this movie because when we came here and we saw that there were Hispanic police, we were a little scared, but once he started talking to us, we were like, whoa, there's a change in the community here. You know what I mean? Our whole approach and the way we looked at it kind of changed a little bit, and I felt like this movie was very much to kids, go follow your dreams, but I felt like it wasn't sugar-coated.
That's a big subject in the movie, too.
So in the movie Zootopia, 90% of animals were actually prey, and 10% were predators, and they learn to coexist with one another. And I feel like sometimes in some communities, let's use Canada for example, it's mostly made up of immigrants. You know what I mean? And immigrants learn to from certain cultures learn to coexist with other cultures. And I feel like this movie really brought to light how even though you're from a different culture or different biology, you know what, we can still coexist with one another.
Yeah, they talked about how we can all live together. Like they had that whole marketing feel of like, oh, we all live together. But when you see how they really live together, things are tough. It ain't easy living together, man. Yeah. It ain't easy having this neighbor or that neighbor because they live differently from how you would live.
Even the bunny, they were like, even though the bunny actually did become a cop, people were still prejudiced against it. And
like she was a little bit prejudiced to certain other people's like, oh, you should watch her for this and that.
Both ways, goes both ways, right? There were a lot of references made to adults in this movie, right? Like not just for kids. Like personally, for me, my favorite scene was like the Godfather reference.
A lot of good movie references in this one. A lot of good Disney movie ones, old movie references. They even made references to new Disney movies that they're coming out with later. It was kind of cool with the way they did that too. It's like when you see that scene, you know what I'm talking about.
Oh yeah. Oh, by the way, the pop-ups. That's the stuff.
Like some parts of the movie I know could scare kids.
Yeah. I took my little brother. He was a little freaked out sometimes. So if you're gonna bring your kids to this movie, just be warned. Pop-up scenes.
Yeah, it's a very good movie though. That you can take like adults, teenagers, and kids to. I feel like because it can pander to all those different like age groups.
So let's talk about the voice actors. Jason Bateman. What did you think?
Jason Bateman, like I didn't even know like who the actors were initially on this list until like the credits rolled, and like I recognized his voice right away though when I heard him like in the main character Nick Wilde who he plays. I'm like, that's Jason Bateman.
Yeah.
That's Jason Bateman right there. Jason Bateman. I don't think he was too good in this movie. I separated his voice a lot from Nick. Like I didn't feel like he was Nick Wilde. I felt like, oh, that's Jason Bateman. That isn't Nick Wilde.
Completely agree.
Jennifer Goodwin. Great voice actor in this movie. J.K. Simmons, he did great too. I liked him as the mayor of the town.
I thought Judy's voice actor did really well at depicting her as an optimistic character. But you know what? I think the reason she did such a good job was because they made this movie realistic to the world. So when she was let down, you could hear it in her voice, her hurt. And speaking of the characters, I just wanted to talk a little bit about their development. I felt like Judy to me was kind of like a lighthouse. You know what I mean? Because she was optimistic, she was for change. No matter what anyone says, she wanted to be a light to the world.
Yeah, she was
I felt like that's what she brought.
I felt that character a lot too. And it felt like that whole like bouncy, like very like ambitious, happy character the whole time. She was just always like, oh, I'm always ready on the go. Her parents, this is. Really were just like,
settle down, settle for this.
It's like,
don't try anything new.
Why don't you try something new? Why don't you go with what we already got for you here at the farm?
But you know what I really like that contrasted was Judy's character with Nick's character. Because I felt like since I said Judy was a lighthouse, I felt like Nick was actually a boat. I felt like he was lost, I felt like he shows people in the world who are like Judy, and then something happens and they give up. And I felt like that was Nick. And I felt like Judy was her lighthouse, Yeah. So I feel like this movie also portrayed the children, like, you know what? If you have a dream, go after it. Be that lighthouse. But be prepared. The world's not going to be a pretty place. But that doesn't mean you're going to stop. Doesn't mean you're going to turn into a boat that's lost, You just have to find your way back to the light.
The relationships between characters in this movie, I thought were handled really well. The moments between Judy Hopps and Nick Wilde, that are the main things I loved about this movie. Their whole character relationship. That's what I really watched it for. That kept me going in this movie. The pacing of this movie was good in my opinion, except for the ending though. The ending felt very rushed and very abrupt. I feel like they could have handled the ending of the movie better. Like they could have like stretched it out a bit more and like fleshed out the ending a bit more, make it feel less like it's gonna be like, oh, here's the ending, here you go, this is what you got. But the fleshing out of characters that they did between Judy and Nick was excellent though. They really 100%. Handled that in a great way.
What I don't know if you thought of a rating. Have you thought of a rating, what you'd give this movie? What's that?
This movie, in my opinion, A-.
Seriously?
A-.
Oh yeah. My god.
As an animation movie, though, that's how I look at things. Like, I don't rate things as, like, a movie for movie. Like, okay.
No, I do. I do 100%.
Like, here's a Spotlight. Here's Gran Torino. Versus.
Okay.
I feel like more is like, okay, you have an animation movie, it's going to be compared to other animation movies. So I feel like in comparison with those other ones, A- is the perfect rating for this movie.
I give it 2.5 stars out of 5. What? And like, I'm going to judge it just as a movie, not as an animation, But I took the animation into factor, and like, for the animation, I would have gave it a 3, but I had to ask myself honestly, 1, would I watch this movie again? And 2, how many times would I watch this movie? And truth be told, I don't ever want to watch this movie again.
I feel like because it touched on so many issues so well.
I agree
and I
with
feel like
that,
because
yeah.
like not a lot of American animated movies do that.
Are willing to step
a lot of movies
yeah.
like out in other countries like India or Japan or anywhere else, they'll like touch on like adult features, like, you know, like this kind of topic. They'll touch on those topics. Americans will not normally. So I was very surprised
Really?
with this
You think
movie.
that? Huh.
And I was really happy they did that for this movie as well, and especially with the timing, like I said before, of like how these issues are related to what's going on right now in our world.
Just wanted to make a note. Speaking of different countries, there's supposedly a scene of a news reporter that I don't know if it's true or not. You know, you'll have to fact check this, I guess. But I'm pretty sure one of the news reporters, the animal changes when it's viewed in different countries.
Really?
Yeah, we'll have to get back on that. I'll put up pictures
Like,
somewhere.
it's supposed-
I recommend if you're gonna go for a cinematic experience, why not? Better to watch Kung Fu Panda 3 though. But you completely disagree, right?
Man, A-. Guys, go watch this movie. Take your kids to it. I feel like it's a great movie that it's important to watch for, especially younger generation, to
That is
expose them
true.
to these kind of topics.
I agree with that actually.
Enjoyed our video. Please like, comment, subscribe. Check us out on the Facebooks. We'll be
Yeah, we're
doing
gonna
that.
build a page sometime soon.
Yep, that'll be coming up soon. And go watch this movie in theaters. A really good one. I enjoyed it a lot. Definitely on my should you
Wait
watch.
till you can watch it on your TV, in my opinion. You know, or if it comes out on Netflix, if they, you know, fix it so that Disney
Or
can release
stream
it.
it. There's so many good shows.
Yeah. Maybe I
Tom-
should have given this movie a 3.
Yeah, just give it a 3, man.
No, it's a solid 2.5.
No, bro, it's a 3. It's
Solid-
a barman 3. yo, please just give it a 3. Please give it.
Yeah, 2.5 for me.
Please give it a
Yo,
3.2.
I'm never watching it. Actually, you know what?
It does not, like, come on. If you
Maybe
give it a
that's-
2.5, that's like giving it the same rating as, like, some of the worst anime movies
No, bro.
that brought out.
No, I've seen some
2.5?
bad ones, man.
No.
I've given them 1s. I didn't even finish watching them.
Dude.
Disney though, Disney. It's just, yo, I expected so much like better from Disney.
Yeah,
for
but still,
storytelling.
come on. A 2.
My parents should have died at the beginning. I'm just kidding. This isn't Pixar.